What's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to another installment of Honest and Uneducated, the show where we talk about anything from movies, movie news, video games, comic books, collectibles, all sorts of fun stuff like that. We got some good stuff to talk about here. Probably the big thing. We're going to do our penultimate spoiler discussion for the penultimate episode, rather, of Falcon Winter Soldier. So that's coming up here. That's going to be at the end of the show, so you don't have to worry about any spoilers coming here for the next hour or so. Then we're going to be doing that. But joining me today to kind of get through some of these topics here is none other than Rik Metz himself. How you doing today, Rik?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm good, man. You have a good day today? What you been up to?
I cut some grass. I took a nap to the gym. About it.
It's a good
standard Saturday.
I was gonna say that's a good normal day right there.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
We also got John Knight here. How you doing, John?
Pretty good, man. I had to work today, so I didn't have as good a day as Rik over there. Although I need to cut grass tomorrow, so that's in my future.
Cutting grass is fun.
Is it?
Cutting
I
grass
like
is
it.
not fun.
Do you have a push mower?
Yeah, and I don't know why. Like whenever I do it, I just like get lost in my thoughts and just like it's like time to think almost. As dumb as that sounds, but
No. I would say that cutting grass is fun if you have one of those zero-turn mowers.
that would be sick.
And you're just like zipping around. Like I have my yard done in a minute.
I was gonna say, yeah, like mine wouldn't take long at all.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like a bit overkill.
Back when my
Yeah.
stepdad was around, we had something like that where you like stood on the back of it, and that thing was sketchy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like it was sketchy.
They really need to make one of those that are, and they probably do in all honesty. I don't really stay up to date in the lawn mowing world, but
Right.
just a zero-turn mower that's the size of a regular mower, because then it'd be totally practical.
Oh, yeah.
Like for like my size yard.
Yeah,
Like if they just had essentially like one of those hoverboards on the back and you just like zipped around on it,
that'd be cool.
That'd be cool. I'm gonna actually look into
Invent that.
because they have to make that. They have to make a small zero-turn mower.
I'm sure they do.
You would think. Either way. But guys, let's get into our topics here. In our first, though, do not forget that you can submit topics and questions to the show by emailing us simply at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Also, got our collectible review series underway every Wednesday. The latest one was the Dark Side Anakin hot toy. You can see him right there. Go check that out. Those reviews go up every Wednesday. Then, other than that, every Friday we do our live stream, so come hang out with us there. We do like figure unboxings, play some games, all that sort of stuff. And then if you don't always have time to watch this show right here on YouTube, the audio only version is available on all the podcast platforms of choice, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. It's out there, so go and subscribe to the podcast and then just stay up to date with all this stuff. So other than that, though, now that all that's out of the way, let's get into our first topic here. And the first one, John kind of broke this to us, speaking of streaming, on did this news actually come out on Friday, like when we were streaming? Or
I think it came out yesterday. I don't know that it came out while we were streaming. It might have come out a little bit beforehand, but
yeah, because Alfred Molina apparently there's been rumors and speculation about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Jamie Foxx's Electro and Alfred Molina's just tons of stuff happening in the Spider-Man 3 movie. But Alfred Molina's finally at least set this to bed, because it still at this point has been speculation. But now he is confirmed that Doc Ock is returning, and he's going to be in Spider-Man 3
Even
or
explains how
Spider-Man
it
No Way
happened.
Home. To what?
It says that it even explains how it happens. Like that's dropping some information there. Like,
Did he explain how it happened?
it says that in
Yeah.
the description, and I was curious. I was gonna say, like, how does it happen?
yeah.
Where's
He
the link in
explains
his
it.
bio for more? I want to know what it is, because I haven't seen that.
He says it. He says it's basically Doc Ock doesn't die at the end of Spider-Man 2. That he somehow doesn't die and was brought back, is plucked from that moment. I think is something what he said.
It's weird though because it's like,
But it's
like the
not the
Spider-Verse.
same Spider-Man.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that
So
doesn't.
what's it matter if he died or not? Now I gotta look this up. I'm gonna see if there's more than just this.
What do you mean it's not the same Spider-Man?
Well, like him dying is irrelevant, whether or not he died or not. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
no,
not the same
I
movie.
think that's it is important. I think it is relevant because it's saying that it's the Doc Ock that appeared in Spider-Man 2 is the same Doc Ock. It's not just Alfred Molina reprising the role. and playing a version of Doc Ock. He's playing the actual Doc Ock that he played before. And that Doc Ock did not die at the end of Spider-Man 2. Something happens where he doesn't die and gets plucked from that moment right at the end of Spider-Man 2.
I don't know how all these characters will like fit in and like how they even coexist like in one world. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and I also think at this point with Jamie Foxx having confirmed that Electro's back and Doc Ock confirming this, I don't understand why Sony and Marvel are playing coy about Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, just admit it, guys. Just come on. Let's not pretend your audience is that dumb.
Right.
You already have two of your main actors confirming their roles, because Jamie Foxx had posted something on Instagram a while back when it was first talked about that he was going to be in it. And then he took that down later on, but it was in his official page that said it. And apparently this Molina story is straight from the horse's mouth, as they say. So
yeah, it is. I found like the full interview here. It's on this is on Variety, where he's going through and talking about like being de-aged and like because someone came through and referenced, you know, what they did to Downey and Sam Jackson and Captain Marvel. And then I mean, that's pretty much it. He doesn't say too much more though. But yeah, I mean, I didn't mean that it's not important that he didn't die. I just thought that was just that wasn't good. Whether or not it was the same like thing or not wasn't really. I don't know. I didn't really care about that part. You know what I mean? Like I didn't care if it was going to be the same one. This is like the cameo that would have been a much better way of doing the the Evan Peters thing, and you know, whatever. If he was actually Quicksilver, that would be cool. Even if he was supposed to be Aaron Taylor Johnson's and not, you know,
that was so
like, you know what I mean?
The
like
Fox universe.
Yeah, like if he was just coming back to play Doc Ock in a new thing, that's cool. Or I didn't think it mattered if he died because he could be Doc Ock in any other universe. You know what I mean? Like this didn't have to necessarily be from Tobey Maguire's universe. It could have still been from his universe, but before he died, like who knows? You know what I mean? Because they can mess with time all they want. They could have literally cut to a scene where he's in the middle of fighting, like in Spider-Man 2 with Spider-Man, and that's when he gets yoinked to Tom Holland's. You know what I mean? So like that's what I meant by like the dying thing. I didn't really care because they were going to explain it some way or another. Him not dying was kind of like the obvious thing if they were going to continue that continuity. But I guess that confirms that they are continuing that continuity, which further does, kind of like you said, like at this point, why are they even trying to play coy about the other ones?
Yeah.
Because if Molina is essentially confirming he is that very same Doc Ock and he didn't die, then it's pretty safe to say that Tobey Maguire is going to be Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He's not going to be like Spider-Man Noir or whatever.
Like I said, I'm curious as to like how it even happens. Like, how do they cross paths? Is it like interdimensional? Is it?
I don't know. I'm sure it's going to have to do with Multiverse of Madness.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But that comes after this, right?
Who knows timeline wise? It comes out film wise after it.
Yeah. I would.
Yeah.
Well, I would think timeline wise they wouldn't put Multiverse of Madness out after if this one didn't.
Well, you gotta think this could be like affecting. Well, I guess the timeline wise, it would make more sense for it to come after it too, because like but the Multiverse of Madness stuff could be happening right now, and that's what's causing this stuff to happen, and then it doesn't get addressed until the next one. You know, maybe. Who knows though? Like we'll just have to wait and see. Like I have no idea. It's cool though. Are you like more on board with him actually continuing that role, or did you want to see him come back as just a new Doc Ock? You know, which would you have rather seen?
Oh, I definitely just want to see him continue that. I don't want to see him come back and be like this universe's Doc Ock. I mean, because all things being equal, he's a great actor. It was a great role, and he did a great job in it. But he is. If he's Doc Ock in this world, it's going to be. I feel like the age gap is way too much. It's all. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but the Vulture back in the day, like before Michael Keaton, was like this really old guy in the comic books, like balding gray hair, like super old guy, and it always was like weird seeing Spider-Man beating up on a senior citizen.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I guess I'd like to see them cast maybe somebody a little bit younger in that type of role. I
Mhm.
don't know. Um,
Well, what
I
worries
mean,
me though with them doing this is if it's like they're never gonna, are they ever gonna even need to introduce a real Doc Ock now in like the MCU world?
Yeah.
Because now they're kind of already doing Doc Ock again with this
In
Doc
the
Ock.
MCU.
I
Yeah.
yeah, see that's it goes the same for Electro too. I think all this is
Yeah.
well, there's the one side of the coin in that they might just be doing their greatest hits just because they don't own the rights to the character and they don't know how long they'll be able to do Spider-Man villains, so they're just like, "Oh, let's throw in what we can while we can." And what better way to do it than just with some people that have already done it and it fits within the story. But the other side of that is maybe Sony's told them, "Look, we've got plans for all these characters in our universe that kind of, but doesn't really tie in with yours." I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's the thing too. That's what I'm most curious about at this point, even more so than Andrew Garfield, who is still my favorite Spider-Man, I think, in all honesty.
Yep.
He
And
was a
Tobey
good Peter
Maguire
Parker.
coming back. What I'm more interested in is what the hell's going on with the Sony Spider-Verse thing with Venom and Michael Keaton's Vulture showed up at the Morbius trailer, then like
Right.
I'm more what the hell's going on with that? Like, is it connected? Is it not connected? Like,
Everything's
I
connected.
mean, that's what's I'm more interested in that because, like, is this Spider-Man 3 movie going to explain any of that? Like, is it going to just merge those two worlds? And that's like kind of a part of Multiverse of Madness, it's just like they're this one thing now.
Yeah.
Because I could see that in the end, like kind of like how DC during Infinite Earths and all that and everything, they just everything's back to one Earth because it got out of hand, right?
I
The
tell you what,
crisis, right?
that actually is a super like I would buy it. I don't know that the general audience would, but I would buy it
Yeah.
if like the Tom Holland Peter Parker met himself, but in the Sonyverse Spider-Verse, like so then you could have Tom Holland show up in the Sonyverse ones, and they
Mhm.
could technically he could be Spider-Man in that, but they'd be separate from the MCU Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting way to explain how you have the same character playing the same actor playing the same character in two very different franchises that nothing else about them crosses over. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would work, and I feel like at this
yeah,
point in time, though, even the general audience would just kinda go with it, and they
Yeah.
probably wouldn't
yeah,
even care. They would just go to see the movie that Spider-Man's in and not really care if it's connected or not because they're not
Yeah.
really intrinsically tied to the story like, we are.
I don't think anybody's like, thinking about it that in depth. But
Yeah. It's weird. Remind me too, after this, I'm gonna have to fix you're out of sync. Your audio's not syncing. Say something, Rick.
Yo,
Yes,
it is.
you're like on a delay. I'll deactivate and reactivate your camera. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, guys, question is though, what do you think about Alfred Molina? Pretty much, and well, one, do you think he was supposed to say any of this stuff? I mean, that's the thing. Is John kind of brought that up on stream when this news kind of came out. It's like, I wonder if he was even supposed to say anything here, because in this Variety article, he goes on to say like while they were filming, it was all like super hush hush, and they're not supposed to say anything and all this, but then he's saying stuff now. So like I don't know what if he thinks the movie's out or something, but I don't know what's going on. But let us know what you think about Alfred Molina's comments here and that Doc Ock returning from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 movie. He's playing that exact same character. It's been confirmed. So let us know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next main topic here today is bringing us into the world of Amazon. And not for like Prime Shopping Day or anything like that, although I do like those deals that you can get sometimes. Amazon recently, not recently, at this point, it's been 4 years, which is kind of crazy to think. But 4 years ago in 2017, Amazon spent like a whopping $250 million for the rights to the Lord of the Rings. And they've been planning on making a Lord of the Rings television series. They were going to make a Lord of the Rings MMO, online multiplayer game. The game has recently just been scrapped. They announced that just the other day, kind of around the same time this news out, surprisingly. I don't know if there's anything, any sort of correlation to that by any means, but news has come out that Amazon has going to spend, or has spent, I guess you should say, $465 million just for the one season. One season of this Lord of the Rings show has cost more than Justice League if you include the reshoots, which is crazy. Like, it's absolutely insane because they estimate, I think Justice League probably cost about $350 to $400 million to make. Yeah, I guess it's not counting marketing, so it probably could have cost, I don't know, Justice League might have, especially after the Snyder cut, it might still have a leg up on it. But hopefully this is a little bit more financially successful for them. But at the same time, it's gonna be a series streaming on Amazon Prime, so you're not really gonna see a direct return on this as you would like a movie. So it's kind of interesting for them to go out of the way to spend that much money on it is insane. And if you go on through the article, it's not very clear where the $250 million that they spent on the rights comes into play with this $465 million price tag on season one. Like, it doesn't really indicate if that's in addition to that or if it's separate. There is one line in here that says, what I can tell you is Amazon's going to spend about $650 million in season one alone, but 465 plus 250 is 715. So I don't really know where they're getting the 650 number. It's kind of odd. And then they also, from a previous article, like a few years back, someone said that they were estimating that the series overall is going to cost $1 billion. But then they go on in this article to say, like, they kind of reference that $1 billion number, but then go on to say that they're going to they want to make 5 seasons of this show. So these numbers don't necessarily add up, other than there's a lot of zeros and dollar signs. That's really about it. But my only thing with this is, one, that's a crazy amount of money I've just to spend on a television series. Again, especially something that you don't really see a direct return on because it's, part of a subscription service. Amazon Prime is, your flat rate of, what is it, $100, $120 a year now, or 10, 15 a month. I don't know what it's up to anymore. But it's an interesting number. So my only thing is, like, the show better be good if you're going to put that much money into it. That's all my only, like, hope for it in any right here. So, John, Rick, you guys hear this news? What do you think about this thing coming in and costing this much money to make? Like, Rick, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm glad you asked. I think it's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that is so much money for a TV show. And I mean, Lord of the Rings is popular. A lot of people like it, as we were discussing, but it's just a lot of money. Like, insane amount of money.
Well, the thing is, too, keep in mind the swords and sandals fantasy like movies, they haven't even really, no one's really made any since Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Right.
Like, there hasn't been one.
I didn't really care for The Hobbit.
No one cared for The Hobbit.
Yeah.
They took a book that was a generously a fourth the size of the first Lord of the Rings book and stretched it out to 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like, the movie,
They got worse with time too, I thought, like the Hobbit movies did.
yeah, I mean, they're not bad movies, but they're by no means good.
It's not Lord of the Rings. Like,
There's somewhere in those 3 movies you can cut out and make one good movie. Like,
probably,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, there's good stuff there, but there's so much that's just, like, very unnecessary. But John, Rick thinks this is crazy. What are your kind of thoughts on this? Big, obviously the most expensive season of television, I think, to date. So what do you think here?
I mean, you guys have kind of summed up everything. I feel like I just hope it's good. At the end of the day, the money aspect of streaming services has just gotten beyond, I think, what any kind of regular person can even comprehend. I mean, they're spending $500 million on a season of television. I don't know how much Amazon makes off of their Amazon Prime memberships. I mean, they're what, 100, 120 bucks a year now, so they work out to like 10 bucks a month. But then you also get Amazon Prime plus everything else. It's included, like, you get the streaming service for video, but you also get some music. You get, I don't even know what it's all involved anymore. So I don't know how that money breaks down. All I know is I like Lord of the Rings, and I hope the show is good. It does seem like an insane amount of money to spend. And if that's the kind of money that these places have to spend on stuff, there are a lot of projects I want to see get greenlit real soon, because I think they could probably be made for, a quarter of what they're spending on this one season of this one show. You could probably make, a lot of different shows that I'd like to see made. So I don't think the excuse is going to fly with me that it's too expensive to make anything else from now on.
Well, not when it comes from Amazon. If Amazon's saying that, like, no way will I accept that, because that's the one thing my direct thing that I can reference as far as something they could have spent more money on. Well, I got two things really. If they were going to spend this much money on one season of Lord of the Rings, why didn't they give the guys behind Invincible a little bit more money to make the animation a little bit better? Give them some more time. Like, you know what I mean? Because the animation's good, but there's plenty of scenes in Invincible, which I'm all caught up on, by the way. It's a great show. Go watch it. There's plenty of scenes though where you just not that nothing's bad, but you see that they didn't have the time or budget to make to actually make it better. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
it's all there, but there's plenty of like reaction shots and stuff. I was just watching Corridor Crew was actually talking about this. Like the video just came out on their like animators reacts or something. I forget what it was, but they were just talking about this. While it's fresh in my mind. But there's like a lot of scenes in it where they just do like kind of lazy stuff, and it's just because they didn't have the time or money to get it done. You know what I mean? It's not like because the show's great, the show's fantastic, and we're just talking like some like cut corners way of animating to get shit done in a timely manner. And it's like, man, if you're gonna spend 465 million on this, like that's your stuff too, Amazon. Why don't you give them a little bit of money and like make all your content as good as you're hoping this is? Like, there's plenty of stuff like even with the boys. Like, if you're like, why not give that? Like, that's a proven show, like a proven
Yeah.
successful show. Like, give them a shit ton of money. They're like doing good things for you. So that's that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is just like, man, like definitely don't want to hear excuses from Amazon about
No.
freaking money.
Right.
Yeah.
And his pocket
Well,
change
Well, you
to
got to think
Bezos,
though
but
too, to your argument about Invincible or whatever. Lord of the Rings, I feel like, is a little bit bigger of a deal. Like, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but I think they can almost expect that they'll have somewhat better return on that than they would like with one of those other shows.
they
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know
you're
though.
definitely right. I mean, Lord of the Rings is a proven multi-billion-dollar property. I mean,
Mhm.
they,
Well, it
the
didn't
movies
make that
alone,
much money though. I'm
The
pulling it up. Hold on.
all three together, plus the Hobbit movies, I'm guessing it cleared a couple $1 billion for both franchises, probably 3 to 4 billion between all six of them.
If you include the other ones, yeah, they probably did. Like, yeah, because The Hobbit made $1 billion. Think about
Yeah, and
that.
they're all
Jesus.
under the Lord of the Rings banner. So I mean, I think that
Yeah,
that
they all made about $1 billion. Yeah, they made more
yeah.
than I thought. So yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, what Rick is saying is, it's a little valid. Like I guess I mean that's, but I also understand what Rob's saying too. Like if you've got the $500 million to throw at one season of a series of a Lord of the Rings series, like why don't you give Invincible another extra 50 million or even
Yeah,
10
something.
yeah, just
to
something.
help up the anime, because at the end of the day, it's only going to help Amazon if all of their properties are done as well as possible and like they don't cut corners to save, I don't know, for budgetary reasons on stuff. But
Yeah, especially on stuff like The Boys, and maybe Invincible season 2, right? Because obviously the show's been a hit, so like hopefully they at least allocate some more money to them for that, But like, because I
yeah,
mean, I think The Boys kind of stepped their stuff up in season 2. Like I would say, I don't know about like $400 million stepped up, but it was.
I'm just maybe you guys have a good answer to this. What is, besides keeping people, does Amazon think that the Lord of the Rings show is going to bring in additional business? Do they think that, or is this just simply a matter of, hey, we're giving content so that people don't decide that they don't want to use our streaming service and move to one of the other ones? Is this a play for new subscribers, or is this just a shoring up of their
I don't know.
content?
Frankly, I don't know because I feel
Yeah,
like most people have it for free 2-day shipping.
that's what I have it
That's
for.
why I have Amazon
Yeah,
Prime.
that's literally
Getting
it.
all their shows and
Got it
shit,
initially for sure, yeah.
it's just a bonus that they have their own content anymore. Like, in all honesty, that's why I was saying, like, I could see them if they were going to be making Lord of the Rings movies, something they're gonna see a direct financial return on at the box office, then this would be, like, fine. I think it'd be a non-story almost. It'd be like, "Wow, that's a lot of money to spend on a movie," but then as you guys said, and I mean, the proof's right here, each of the Lord of the Rings movies, even the bad Hobbit movies, they all made about $1 billion. Like,
Yep.
all of them. Fellowship of the Ring, the first one out of the gate, made just under 900 million. So it's like, if you were gonna throw these in
And
the
that
theater, then yeah, I could totally see it.
how long ago was that? When was the first one? I mean, that's been a while
It was
now
like
since that first.
2003, wasn't it?
I think Return of the King was
No,
2000.
2001 for Fellowship of the Ring. So
Yeah,
yeah,
2001, almost $1 billion. That's crazy.
yeah, this is 20 years ago that movie made. Yeah, that's why I think it's crazy for like I don't know what their I don't know like you said I don't know what their end game for it is because I feel like most people who have Amazon Prime they have like they already have it. I don't know a single person who signed. Maybe this is why though. Maybe the reason for what I was about to say is I don't know a single person who has signed up for their content. Maybe that's why they're doing this.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
a
what I
good
mean?
point.
Like now people will have more of an incentive to sign up for Prime. And I don't
Yeah.
know, you can do like they offer the annual subscription and like monthly, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I
Because
think
I was
I
gonna say if
I
they
pay
don't, they
monthly.
should. You pay monthly?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like more. It's more monthly though, right? How much do you pay monthly for it?
like I think somewhere like between 12 and $15.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because I think they do the thing where like you can pay monthly, but if you buy in a year, you save like $20 a year. You know,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Yeah, I was gonna say if they
Um,
didn't do that, that would be good. Like, start doing that. Like, that'd get more people in. But
one thing I didn't think about or that just came to me was Amazon may have felt pressure to dump as much money as they have into this to make it because with things like Invincible or The Boys or you look at other series on with Netflix series and stuff, um, you don't have anything. A lot of times, you don't have anything to compare the show to. In this case, they're going to have a direct comparison when they put something out that's called Lord of the Rings. If it doesn't look as good as the films that came out, people are going to have issues with it, I'm sure. And I'm sure that they will say something about it. They'll be like, well, yeah, it's called Lord of the Rings, but it looks like a silly sci-fi show or something like that, if they don't put that production value behind it to keep it looking at least and feeling like the movie. So I'm guessing maybe part of that was part of the reason they dumped so much money into it too.
yeah, and the other thing with that too is like there's been I don't know if there's been too much of this that can actually be confirmed. But there's like all these rumors that they were trying to make this Lord of the Rings series for like make it more mature and they were gonna have like nudity and things like that on it
kind of like
because
Game of Thrones.
everything's been yeah, because that's exactly why. Everyone wants the next Game of Thrones. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants like
It's,
Netflix wants to have that, like, because there's a
they're very
void right now.
they're very similar.
Yeah, and like this would be the closest thing you could get to it, like as far as IPs go.
Yeah, I was gonna say unless you like completely wrote something new or whatever, but
Yeah, but that's the thing with writing something new, and like kind of my point with this is like there really hasn't been any like big successful swords and sandals fantasy kind of things since the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, like you could say the Hobbit movies were financially successful, yes, but they weren't like as they're not beloved like the
No,
Lord of the
God,
Rings franchise. You know what I mean? Like series anyway. I don't know. It's definitely a lot of money. I'm curious. I just hope it's good. You're gonna pump this much money into it. I hope they just make something good.
right.
Like, and it's kind of like you said too. It is kind of surprising that they decided to cancel the game because for the longest time, like you'd go like when movies came out, they always had the video game tie-in with it. That's been dead for years now. They don't have
Yeah.
that anymore.
Yeah.
But Lord, like Amazon had themselves in a pretty precarious position to be like, here's our $1 billion Lord of the Rings series, and here's our freaking MMO that ties right in with it. Like, just
Yeah,
freaking
we haven't mentioned that on this part, have we? Did you mention that about what the game being canceled?
I mentioned it off the top, but it
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
like
My
its
bad.
own
I
art.
missed it.
It wasn't its
Yeah.
own article. So if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it now.
No, it's good. I remember we talked about it off camera before we got on, and then
Yeah.
I missed that in the intro. I guess I was thinking about the $465 million. So
It's a lot to think
So,
about.
yeah,
a lot to take in.
It's a lot of dollar signs and a lot of zeros. So, but yeah, like it just be more marketing for them, right? It's like here's our Lord of the Rings series, here's our game, and it ties in. If
sure.
they had it to where it's set in the same time period, and you're just, I mean that because that used to be a thing. That's how a lot of games got sold back in the day, and it stopped because the demands for like quality in video games has just become a little bit too high. So like game companies being able to pump out a game every time a movie comes out just can't happen these
No,
days. too much development time is needed for it. So
Well, I tell you what, maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm a different kind of game player than a lot of people. But man, I used to buy just about every movie tie-in game that came out, good, bad, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I always hoped that they'd be good. But there's something about like when you see that those movies or the show, and it's really good, and you get into it. Like you want to live in that world more than that. You want to go back and revisit that world, and the games were a way to do that. You know, they were a way to continue that story outside of the movie, or a way to re-immerse yourself in that world. And so I there are a ton of movie and TV tie-in games I've bought over the years, and I would think that that would hold true, especially for something like this, because there are, like you were saying, there just aren't a lot of sword and sandal type genre, fantasy genre style shows and movies out. There also aren't that many games out either, so like I would think this would be a good opportunity for them. But
yeah, well, that's the thing. Like I said off camera, the only reason I can see them canceling it is because Amazon is developing their own MMO under like
yeah,
Prime Gaming is what they've renamed their company to, their video game company, and it's called New World, which is very aesthetically similar to what Lord of the Rings would be. So like maybe they just didn't want to like cannibalize their own game essentially,
Right.
because this would also be like their game. And if New World comes out first, but then this Lord of the Rings game comes out, this big IP everyone knows, they'll probably go play that. But I mean, they're gonna
yeah,
face that problem anyway, though. Like that's how every game is, especially in the MMO world. It's like everybody's playing World of Warcraft, but everyone's dying for a new one to come out because they're tired of playing World of Warcraft. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I don't know. It's interesting, and I do think they kind of missed an opportunity because it would have been a nice touch. Because John, you're totally right. That's why those video game tie-in games were so successful, despite them not always being like of the quality of a true game, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like it's just because I remember the most recent one I played was the Spider-Man 2 game, where Andrew Garfield one, because they were still doing
yeah,
them then,
Yeah.
and that was still just like a good Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Like it was fun.
The Tobey Maguire ones were good.
Yeah, I mean
I used to
they're the
love
same
like
way.
swinging around, and
Yeah, and Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire one, was the first one where they had the open world, you
that was
swinging,
great.
like and that's just how the frickin' Andrew Garfield one was, like, it's fun just to go through and do that, and,
Yeah.
like, you're playing through the same stories.
Funny enough, I don't know if you remember. I think it was PlayStation 2 or 3 or Xbox 360 something. They made an Iron Man game for
Yeah.
either Iron Man 1
Yep.
or 2, and it was awful.
Mhm.
I got it just because I was like, it'd be cool to fly around like Iron Man and stuff, but like it was not fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they were supposed to they either did make it or they were supposed to make it, but a Man of Steel video game. Because this is around the time where the games died. Those video game
Yeah.
movie games died because like the developers did not have enough time to make games to the quality that people who play video games wanted.
Yeah.
Like that Iron Man game, for instance, like they didn't have the
That was
time
so
to make
low
that
budget.
good. Like it had to come out at the time of the movie, and there was no way for them to get it done. So
Right.
you get that pile of garbage. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Question is, guys, though, what do you think about this? Do you think, like Rick, that it is batshit crazy in his words for them to be making or spending $465 million or more? In the article, they said that the first season alone is going to be costing upwards of $650 million for a season of television. What do you think about that? I kind of think it's a bit crazy too. Like they're definitely putting all their eggs into this Lord of the Rings basket, but at the same time, it really is just pocket change for Jeff Bezos. So I guess it really does. It's a lot of money to us and to pretty much everybody else in the world, but I guess it's really not a whole lot of money to him. So maybe that's really the only explanation we have for it. I don't know. Whatever you think, let us know down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next topic here takes us to another potentially very expensive and successful, maybe the next Game of Thrones show kind of deal here, and that is the Last of Us TV series that is coming to HBO Max. So I mean, if anyone could make a Game of Thrones show or a Game of Thrones replacement show or Game of Thrones type, show in popularity and quality, it'd be HBO because they did it the first time. But with this Last of Us series, it has a lot of promise because not too long ago, we had news that the Mandalorian himself, Pedro Pascal, was cast to play Joel in the titular role. And then, what's her name again? I forget her name. The girl who was from Game of Thrones.
Bella Ramsey.
Is that her name?
It says that on the.
Oh, does it say it in the article
Yeah.
that I'm like looking at right now? That's great. So yeah, she was Lady Mormont, the kid one in the if you're familiar with Game of Thrones, and she was great in that. She's playing Ellie. So, but now we have some news of Joel's brother Tommy is going to be played by Gabriel Luna, which He was most recently he was in the Terminator Dark Fate film. He played the Terminator, and then he was Ghost Rider in Agents of Shield, which he was really the only good part of Agents of Shield. Like he was like I actually started watching again once they had Ghost Rider in there because like I liked it. It was good for a little bit. It didn't end up lasting too long. They were actually going to be giving him his own Ghost Rider series on Hulu, and that got canned. So that was kind of disappointing because I liked his Ghost Rider character and I liked the actor. So I think this is good news. It's never a bad idea to add talent to something. I think he's talented. He was great as a Terminator. So Rick, you're a fan of the Terminator series, right?
Oh yeah,
What do you
yeah.
think about the Gabriel? Are you familiar with Last of Us though?
I remember you playing it back in the day. I think it's cool. I mean, like I like Pedro Pascal, so that'll be cool to see him again. But I don't know. Like I don't really know much about it other than it's like a post-apocalyptic sort of thing, and I don't know. I don't know if it could be on the same level as like Game of Thrones, like success-wise, but who knows? I don't know much about it, so
I don't know about success wise, but because it has to grab the general audience's attention for it to be
yeah,
as successful as Game of Thrones, and this type of movie is a very genre movie,
oh
or
yeah,
this show rather is a very. Even though I guess arguably you could say so is Lord of the Rings, right? Or not Lord of the Rings, but Game of Thrones. It's it's a fantasy kind of thing, but it was a very grounded kind of fantasy thing. It was mostly political. I
yeah.
think that's why most people probably were able to like attached
Understand
to
it.
that show. It
Yeah,
was very character driven. Like the only magical thing they really ever had on screen were the dragons. Like
yeah.
that was
The
pretty
Night
much it.
King.
Yeah, and but even both of those things were pretty sparse for most of the series.
Yeah,
Like in the later series, they were or later episodes, they were in there a little bit more, but for the most part, it was pretty much just drama.
yeah,
Which is great though. Totally worked. I love Game of Thrones. It was fantastic, but the Last of Us series is very similar in that vein, where it is primarily a character-driven story, and you're just kind of in the world. Like, what I mean, it's very much just a game. It's a very cinematic game, and everyone loves the games for the story. So I think it has the potential. I think the biggest hurdle it's going to have as far as like catching the global audience like Game of Thrones did is just like the specific type of like post-apocalyptic zombie kind of world doesn't always grab people, and we're coming off the heels of Walking Dead, which has kind of really tired people out, I think, like the majority of people. 'Cause that started off for a while as like it was huge, everybody liked it, and then it just kind of like no one talks about it anymore. And this being a very similar style show to that, I don't know if it's gonna help or hurt it. So, John, what are your thoughts on this after my big ramble there about it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that kind of you just touched on it in there. Like I think the better comp to this would be The Walking Dead, um, just because it's more. There's a virus, or there's a it's post-apocalyptic. It doesn't have the sword and dragons and magic really that does. It's more a zombie filled outbreak type situation in the Last of Us world. Um, the scariest part of the games was always the humans. Like the zombies are scary, but it's the humans are scarier.
Mhm.
And it's going to be interesting to see how they differentiate themselves from The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead kind of played into those tropes as well, like with Negan and who is the guy with the eye patch that at the prison. I
The
can't remember what
governor?
that the governor. Yeah, I mean, like the humans had some really sick elements to them in The Walking Dead and stuff. And that's kind of a lot of the same things with the Last of Us game. Is you do have some scares with the monsters, but it's also just as scary going up against some of the regular humans, and the way people choose to survive, either by coming together or by, you know, kind of reverting to a evolutionary survival of the fittest type mentality. Um, so it has the potential to be an excellent show. I don't know that it will ever get to Game of Thrones numbers. I think maybe something along the lines of Walking Dead at its peak is a more a kind of target to shoot for. I was interested to see that this casting announcement, though, getting back to like the original story we started with, just because Tommy isn't, from my recollection, it's been a few years since I played it, but Tommy isn't a huge part. He's an integral part of the game, of the first game at least. but he isn't a huge part of that game. Like his appearances are sporadic. And so I was surprised to see him cast somebody kind of a big name in that role. Maybe they have more plans for the future. Maybe they plan to expand his role out more based off of what they're doing with the story. So it was an interesting casting choice, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I hope they do like they'll obviously take their liberties as any sort of adaptation does. The good thing is these are video game stories, so like these ones in particular actually had a very large, long story. So there's like a lot of it, kind of like Game of Thrones, where you can like take directly from the source material, and there's enough there to actually do a pretty good like 1-to-1 for a lot of it, but they can't do it like totally because a lot of the game's based around gameplay. But I'm looking forward to it. I had a point that I was getting to, and it totally just left me. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
sounds
So
like it'll be
Same.
cool.
we'll see. Question is, guys, what do you think about Gabriel Luna being cast in here as Tommy? Do you think he's gonna have a bit bigger of a role? I think what I was gonna say is this is what I was gonna say. I remember now. Like all things, they do like any adaptation. Like the filmmakers or the showrunners are gonna take their own liberties to it, right? Like the MCU isn't exactly like the comics, but they take some stuff and then they make it their own. The only thing that I hope they take away that is exactly like the game for this season 1, is the damn opening. The show better open the same way the game opens. John, you've played it, right?
Man,
You remember how the game
I mean,
opens, though?
oh man, anybody that's
That's what I'm
played it,
saying.
I don't think you can ever forget that. I mean, it
Yeah.
has one of the most emotional, powerful openings to a game, TV, movie, whatever. You name the type of entertainment, book, magazine, article. I don't care what it is. I'm not sure that there's ever been one that had a more emotionally powerful opening than that. So yeah, I would be shocked if they did not open the series the exact same way.
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
you have to. It's because even
yeah,
if they went like further back, that's the only thing I can see them doing is going like further back, maybe showing. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played the game, so like
sure.
they can actually see it. But if they go a little bit further, because it's kind of jarring, they put you like right there in the game. It just
Yeah,
happens in front of you. Maybe it's set a little bit further back to like maybe get you more connected to those two characters, maybe, and then it happens. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Maybe I see him do that. Maybe the whole first episode is set up to the end of the first episode, then that happens, as
yeah.
opposed to you're just kind of there already. I could see him doing that, which I don't know if it would be better or worse, but it'd still be powerful. It might honestly be worse if they show like a montage of all this happy-go-lucky stuff pretty much for 45 minutes. Then the last 15 is what happens at the beginning of the game.
Honestly, I would be perfectly fine if the first episode was just if they just lifted everything
Oh yeah.
from that opening segment of the game, the prelude of the game. I mean, if that's their first episode, I think you've got a genius episode right there that hooks most people.
Yeah, it definitely would, because it hooked everybody who played the game, and I think that's one of the main reasons, like, you didn't stop playing the game. Like, you know what I mean? Because that happens immediately, and you're already instantly connected and motivated to move on, like, to see what happens. So, question is, guys, what do you think about Gabriel Luna, again, being cast as Tommy in this, and do you think they're gonna open the show exactly the same way as the game opens, or you think maybe they'll, put in a little backstory first? Maybe they'll think it'll get you more connected. Maybe they think it's a little too much to, like, go right in there, but at the same time, it is HBO, so really anything goes, in all honesty. So let us know what you think down in the comments section below. All right, guys, so our next topic here is a bit of a fun one. It's kind of a nonsensical one, kind of like all the movies in a lot of ways, but the Justin Lin, the director of Fast and Furious 9, was recently interviewed, and I believe God, I'm blanking on her name right now. Rodriguez,
Michelle
Michelle
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, I believe, was part of this interview as well. But they were kind of like talking about the potential of maybe a crossover with like Jurassic Park, and they both kind of said, like, for one, I gotta say this I just better not ever happen, put it that way. But I don't think it will ever happen. I just have to say, because this is a little bit crazy, but The fact that, I mean, if you've seen the Fast and the Furious movies, I mean, who the hell knows? In the latest trailer, they show Tyrese and Ludacris like practically going up into space almost. Like, you know, what I mean, like it's been a joke. It's just like we're just waiting for the next one. Like they're going to go to space. Like that's all they can do at this point, and they're almost there. They're in the upper atmosphere in Fast 9 already. So like they're getting pretty close. Like they always have that term "jumping the shark," right? Like they've jumped a lot of sharks at this point, and people keep coming to these movies though. Like they seem to make more money each time they get released. So I don't know whatever they're doing, it works. But Justin Lin was asked about this idea of ever crossing over with Jurassic Park, and he said, "Well, I've never said never to anything." And then when he was asked about the possibility of it, and then he said, "And the fact that part of our philosophy is not to ever be boxed in or labeled, that's all I have to say." Then there was another quote. I don't know if it's in this article in particular because it was Michelle Rodriguez's. I think this is her quote. Yeah, once you reach a certain pinnacle, there's nowhere to go but to cross, brand, and merge. It's it's what big corporations do with each other when they get too big. You know what I mean? Rodriguez pointed out, you just have to brand and merge with each other. But the only thing standing in the way is lawyers and studios because usually the brands that you're trying to merge belong to different studios or whatever, but it's under the same umbrella. I don't know. I'm just saying it works. So the only thing I have to say to that is this doesn't work though. He's like, I don't know what you're gonna do. Like, you're gonna have Vin Diesel riding on the back of a T-Rex like Optimus Prime rode on. What is the damn dinosaur dude's name again?
Grimlock.
Grimlock. There it is. I knew it started with a G and had something in it, but the only thing that was coming to my mind was Grindelwald. And I'm like, I know it's not Grindelwald, so I'm not gonna say that. So yeah, but like, what are you gonna do? Like,
I think it sounds stupid. God. I personally though, I can't stand the Fast and Furious movies. Like I know that's a strong opinion on that, but like no thank you. Like just I mean Jurassic Park is what it is. I like the very first Jurassic Park, but kind of lost interest after like The Lost World. And
everybody did.
yeah, I know it sounds bad too. I say this kind of stuff a lot, but like I don't like Vin Diesel. So I think that's one of the biggest turnoffs for me with the Fast and Furious movies, but
Why don't you like Vin Diesel though?
he's so funny. Like
That's like gimmick though. That's his thing.
he's like tough guy, you know, and I know that is his gimmick, but it's like cringy almost is the best way I can put it.
Vin Diesel comes off to me. I mean, to me, I don't mind the guy. I think he's fine. He comes off as a little pretentious
Yeah.
to me, and maybe I'm just catching the wrong quotes or maybe I'm getting things out of context from him. But you know, whereas like Vin Diesel, like I feel like Vin Diesel thinks he's at least from the quotes and stuff I hear from him, he seems like he thinks that he's like, for lack of a better way to put it, like one of the top 5 male actors in the world. Like, and that his name alone carries movies to huge box office success. And outside of the Fast and Furious series, I'm not sure what movies he's done that have been, any financially successful. I mean,
None.
Pitch Black. I think the Pitch Black, the first one, was kind of successful, but that was like right on the back of the first Fast and Furious, which was hugely successful at the time.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't think Vin Diesel's done a whole lot. So that's I understand where Rick's coming from with that kind of take on him. So anyway, I just interjected myself into why Vin Diesel sucks, I guess. But no, I don't, like I said, I don't mind the guy. I think he's fun in the movies he's in. But yeah, I definitely get where Rick's coming from with that.
Yeah, that was strong of me to say. Like I can't stand him, but
You
not
say
a
it to
fan.
his face, man. He's coming in next week. So,
if only.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I actually like Pitch Black. I like the Riddick series like a whole lot.
Chronicles of
that's-
Riddick was
yeah.
strange.
I like those movies. Like they weren't as well, like they weren't all like well done, but I like the lore and stuff they set up there. Like freaking Carl Urban was in freaking Chronicles of Riddick. It was some good stuff. They had that video game, Escape from Butcher Bay, that was like really good. Like,
Yeah.
it was good stuff. Like, it was good enough for me to remember the names of this shit. Okay,
Yeah.
I blank on people's names who are in articles I'm literally reading on screen, and I remember these things. That means something. You know what I mean? I thought Pitch Black was good and cool. I like the Riddick movies. I think they're actually good. I like the lore.
What
They're
was
strange.
what was the action film series that he tried to start?
Triple
like Triple
X.
X.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
God.
Yeah.
I
They-
never saw
like-
Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage. I did not watch it.
Ugh.
The first one did like terrible, and then they tried to bring it back like a decade later,
Yep.
and like
They had one with
it
Ice
fell
Cube,
flat on
didn't
its
they?
face again.
I don't
Oh,
remember
is
if
that
Ice
it? They
Cube was in
tried
the
to-
first one or
you're
second
right.
one. Oh yeah, they made a spin-off with Ice Cube. Yeah, you're right.
Ice
Yeah.
Cube, like
was
why
in the
you
second
tried to
one.
spin off that series, because even the first one wasn't like, and that's just the thing about like Tom Cruise starts up Mission Impossible and he's got it going in for episodes 7 and 8 like 2 decades later. Vin Diesel tried to start up a Triple X franchise and didn't even get past one movie in it. Like that's where when he talks about himself and like how, I don't know, it's weird.
Well, he
Yeah.
also
But anyway,
he had the last Witch Hunter, which wasn't successful at all. Then he had I think Daniel Radcliffe was in that with him. I might be thinking of something else, but I think he was. I can't remember. But the Riddick franchise wasn't very successful financially either. And then he had the Triple X franchise, which he was in 2 of the 3 Triple X movies. Because they made one just like a couple years ago, Triple X: Return of Xander Cage, and like I just heard it was such a dumpster fire of a movie, I obviously didn't watch it. And then what was the other one he had? He just did it, the Bloodshot film.
Bloodshot, yeah.
He just had that
oh,
come
that's
out,
right.
and that didn't do good either. Now, granted, that came out during like right on the pandemic time. It was like March, so
Well, and that was the other thing about, I think that I just can't get off of like harping on Vin Diesel here, but like the other thing that always struck me as odd about him was like how much he hypes himself up with the Fast and Furious movies. Like these are his movies. Like he's like the driving
Yeah.
force behind him. And like I even heard that like he's the reason The Rock isn't in the franchise anymore. And
he is actually
tension-
he owns like the majority of the the rights to Fast and Furious in some capacity. Like he like owns the IP in a lot of ways. Yeah.
because like the first movie was such a success, and then like he refused to come back for the sequel, like because
Mhm.
he felt like, oh, he was above doing like fast car driving movies at that point, and like, and now so at one point in his career, like the Fast and Furious was beneath him, but now it's like, I don't know,
He saw
it's
the
just odd to
success.
me. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
odd to me that
You want to come
how
back?
it's worked out, but
Well, and it's
Anyway.
it's cause though he tried to do all these other things, and they just didn't work. They didn't have the returns of Fast and Furious had, so he came back to it because he was done with it at one point. Like he
Yeah.
said that they were done, and then but he's also said that since he came back to it, like he said that they're done, but now he says like they're done in one interview, but then says like I'll keep doing it forever, like whatever.
'Cause,
So
I
it's
mean,
like who?
he did.
Good impression.
He was in one, but then it was Too Fast, Too Furious that he was not in, and then they did Tokyo Drift where he made an appearance at the end, right?
Yeah.
So there were like 2 films early on that he just completely bailed on the franchise for, and now he's like, when it comes out, he acts like this has been his baby the whole time, and it's a little odd to me the way.
It
but,
is weird. Yeah.
but maybe they will involve dinosaurs at some point. I just, I don't
That
know.
concept
It'll
is so
make.
strange.
It's also weird too for me, just because like I feel like Jurassic Park is kind of just now establishing themselves. They've got, what's the next one? Fallen Kingdom just came out. What's the new one called? I can't remember what the subtitle of the new one is.
I'm trying to remember.
Jurassic World, I don't know, whatever it is.
I can't think of it. Hold on.
Whole lot of dinosaurs.
Whole
It's
lot of
Dominion.
dinosaurs.
Dominion. I got it before it pulled
Dominion.
up. Dominion, yeah. Bam.
Okay. So, I mean, but I feel like they haven't reached that point that like Michelle Rodriguez is talking about. I mean, you're at episode 9 of the Fast and Furious franchise. And while yes, technically we might be at episode 6 of the Jurassic Park series, there was a big gap in the middle where they didn't
There
make
was.
anything, and they kind of rebooted the franchise with the Jurassic World movie.
Mhm.
So I don't know that the 2 franchises are in the same spot, but money speaks. So if somebody thinks that there's money to be made, maybe they will.
Yeah, it is very important to point out that the folks from Jurassic World have no comment on this. They are not confirming that
Yeah,
this
they're
is
like,
going
"What?"
to happen in any way, shape, or form. So there's that. It's not news. Like they were asked a speculatory question and they
Right.
answered it. Not
Yeah.
Colin Trevorrow and Chris Pratt aren't calling Vin Diesel up talking about the latest,
Buddy,
what
we
did I
gotta get your car in here.
yeah, it was like
Right.
Fast 10, Cretaceous and Bodacious is the title I came up with. Like, I don't know. I'd pay to see that movie though. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what I could see it like the Fast and Furious crew. They make a car that goes like so freaking fast it rips through space and time or some shit, and then bam, they're there.
Dinosaurs.
They're
Yeah.
dinosaurs now. They're there, and then they're Vin Diesel's riding on a freaking T-Rex and I would actually probably pay to see this movie.
Riding on
I really would. I'm not saying it would be good, but I would actually probably
It'd
pay
be-
to see it.
It's one of those things that's like it's so bad you can't look away.
Yeah, I'd
That's how I
have.
feel
It's like a car wreck. You have to. No pun intended with the Fast and Furious, but yeah, I'd have to watch it if it happened. But I don't want it to happen. Like, I don't know. At the same time, though, it could be fun. Well, I would rather. I'd just like to see a movie where I'm hoping the new Jurassic World Dominion movie is a little bit more like this. Because I think what everybody's always wanted from Jurassic World was just, or Jurassic Park even, was just to see dinosaurs just be in our world and just
Yeah.
fuck shit up. Like that's what I've wanted to see like the entire
Sure.
time. And like it was always like kind of promised and teased like that's what is happening, but it never really happens. So like that's what Dominion is like set up to be. So I hope they just follow through with that. Like, you know what I mean? That's all I want to see. That's if they
That
give me
took-
that, I'm good.
To quote the great Jeff Goldblum, like it's one of those things where it's like just because you were so caught up in seeing if you could, you never stop to think if you should.
If you should.
Yeah, and that's how I kind of feel about this.
It's
Like,
very true. This is very, very true. We'll call it there. So the question is, guys, what do you think about this? Do you think this is something they should do? Like you let us know down. I'd pay to see the movie. Like you can't tell me that watching Vin Diesel ride around on a T-Rex, like it sells some tickets. I don't know if it'd be good. It'd probably be terrible, but I would definitely pay to see the damn movie. So let us know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our penultimate topic here before we get into our Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5 spoiler discussion and review here coming up is taking us back to we had a story about this movie here that I'm not going to be convinced this movie's happening until I see set photos. Just like that Flash movie, I still don't buy it. Like at least with the Shazam, or not Shazam, but the Black Adam movie, The Rock posted a picture of the clapper wheel thing. So like that movie, I'm confidently like I'm there to say that one's happening. Flash and then this movie, Indiana Jones 5, I'm still not there. I need to see some actual physical evidence before I believe anything from this. But we just had a story about Indiana Jones last week where Phoebe Waller-Bridge of Fleabag had joined the series, or joined the movie rather, as the lead alongside Harrison Ford himself. So now, though, we have got news that Mads Mikkelsen himself is also going to be starring in Indiana Jones 5, and he's going to be the villain. So that's exciting. I love Mads Mikkelsen. Now, he was just recently announced to be replacing Johnny Depp as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts series. So, like, I'm looking forward to that because I love Mads Mikkelsen. He's one of my favorite actors, honestly. All I really want to see from Mads Mikkelsen is them to bring Hannibal back more so than anything. I want Hannibal season, I think 5 is what we need. I think it either ended on 3 or 4. I can't remember. It's a great show though, dude. It's
Pretty sure it was 3.
I think it ended on 3 and we need 4. I think that's
Yeah.
what we need. We need Hannibal season 4. That's what I want from Mads Mikkelsen and crew. I want Hannibal season 4. I think everybody who watched Hannibal wants Hannibal season 4, damn it. I love that show so much that like when I think of Hannibal, I think of him. I don't think of Anthony Hopkins anymore. That's a big statement. It's a big statement. So if you don't believe me, go watch the show and tell me you don't feel the same way. In all honesty, like tell me. But either way, I'm very excited for this because, like I said, I love Mads Mikkelsen. So, John, I'll kick it to you this time. What do you think about Mads here? He's popping off a little bit. He was in Doctor Strange. He was the villain in Doctor Strange, and then he's coming in and being Grindelwald in the big movie. He's freaking coming into here, star alongside Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones 5. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, and then Rogue One, he was
Yeah, he was in Rogue One.
in Rogue One, played a pretty
Galen
prominent
Erso,
part.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great actor. So it's the one thing I did think when I initially heard this was like, I wonder if they're setting him up to be the Indy replacement, the possible future Indy for the franchise. But he's kind of on the older side to be doing that. Like this is if this is Harrison Ford passing the torch to him as kind of the next Indy, that would be a little odd, and I'm not sure story wise how that would work. So it'd be interesting to see what his character is. Um, I got kind of excited because I kind of like the idea of Mads as kind of the next Indiana Jones. I just don't think we have more than one or two films with him in the role. But I the more I thought about it, the less I think I unconvinced myself that that's probably what they're doing with this. So it'll
Well,
be
I've
interesting
heard
just to
from
see what kind.
I've heard from reliable sources. They haven't mentioned it in any of these articles that he's going to be the villain of this movie.
And yeah, I mean that makes a lot more sense. I don't know. The indie villains are always kind of secondary though to the treasure that he's hunting, the artifacts that he's trying to uncover. So
Yeah.
not sure what. I'm trying to think of the villains in the other series, and they didn't have a lot of load to carry, I guess. So, but I don't know. I'm excited for it. I like Mads. So, like you said, Hannibal was phenomenal, and like you know, I'd give up Indy 5 if we could get season 4 of Hannibal, to be honest. So
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Especially given what
yeah.
we got with it. I think we said this last week. Like I'm all for them giving themselves redemption for Indy 4 to make Indy 5 and make it be good. Like I'm all for that. But yeah, if I had to choose, I would totally take Hannibal to come back over this. But damn it, I had another point I forget. Rick, what do you think about this?
I like Mads Mikkelsen. I thought he was as good as Galen Erso. I never actually watched Hannibal, but
Oh, dude, you should watch it.
yeah,
It's on Netflix.
I was gonna say, I was gonna ask what
Totally.
it's on, but
Really good.
yeah, I think it'll be cool. I mean, he definitely plays a good villain. I mean, he plays a good guy as well too, which is kind of nice. He's pretty like modular, I guess, in that aspect. But I think it'd be cool. I mean, Harrison Ford's getting old though. He just
Yeah.
looks so like tired nowadays. And
78, right?
yeah, like
I mean, yeah, he's older now than Sean Connery was when he played his dad in these movies.
yeah. I mean,
So now, like, Indy's older than his dad was.
when you saw him in Rise of Skywalker, it's just like, man, you just look like.
Well, maybe to John's point though too, where like we never really see a lot of the villains. Maybe we'll see more of Mads in the villain role in this because he's so much older now. He's not going to
Yeah.
be able to do the stuff that he did before.
The
And it's going to be
stunts
kind of
and,
harder to
yeah.
watch like someone of his age and like buy into it if he's doing all the stuff that
Well,
he did before.
How old is he? Like his 40s, 50s?
Yeah, if they have him acting like he's in his 40s, or no, I'm talking about Indy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying if we're watching Harrison Ford whip around and like getting fights with Nazis and like
Right.
this, it's gonna be like I don't think he could pull this off. Like,
No,
it was almost like that in Indy 4, and
Right.
like now we're almost 10 years later or whatever. So like maybe the villain here will play a much more predominant role in this one as opposed to whatever the the MacGuffin usually is, to John's point, like the big plot point. Like that's what we're going after, and that's the thing. And the villains are normally like secondary, tertiary things that just kind of set him on the path. But maybe it won't be the case this time because he is maybe he's not the villain and the source that is wrong, and he is gonna be like his second hand, and he does most of his right hand man kind of thing,
Yeah.
and he's doing all the action stuff for him. Maybe who knows? Who knows?
There isn't a chance like he's related to Indy somehow, is there? There isn't a chance he's like Indy's younger brother or anything, is there?
Who knows,
they-
man?
Kentucky Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kentucky Jones.
I thought of that when we were talking about it, and I was like,
Kentucky Jones. I don't know if that'd be good. Like I could see him doing something like that, but
And just something
Who knows?
about his look kind of like I could buy him and Harrison Ford being brothers.
yeah,
Uh,
cousins or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
twice
Maybe-
removed.
Sean Connery maybe like had a secret son with somebody, and maybe he still can be Indy's brother and be the villain,
Yeah.
and be his
Yeah.
partner at the same time. They
All three in one
he could
movie.
be all of them. He's a good enough actor to pull it off.
Oh yeah.
I'll let him do it. But yeah, the question is, guys, what do you think about Mads Mikkelsen joining Indiana Jones 5? Are you like me, though, where you're still kind of like, I don't know if they're still going to make this movie? You got James Mangold, previously, director of Logan. So, I mean, that's good, but it's also like, well, we don't have Steven Spielberg, so that's not good. So, I don't know. I need to see some cameras roll. I need to see some footage before I even believe this movie's happening, but they are pumping out the news for it, 2 casting announcements for it in the last 2 weeks. So, let us know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So, our final topic here is coming is our spoiler-filled discussion here of the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5. First, though, off the top, wanted to bring up this interview that old Wyatt Russell, U.S. agent or great value Captain America himself, had here the other day, where he kind of teased maybe that Chris Evans himself is going to be making an appearance in this upcoming final episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's a very odd quote, and it's mainly the line at the end. I mean, it's a very strange sentence, in all honesty, and the quote at the end is the most important one, but he was asked if he ever met Chris Evans, and he goes on to say, "Have I ever met Chris Evans? I think I have. I don't think I've shook his hand, met him, but I think I've walked by him somewhere and made eye contact. That counts as being a stalker. That doesn't count as meeting anybody, but I guess it would. You just gotta wait until the end of the series, and then everybody will be like, oh wow." So, again, very odd sentence. Like, I just feel like it's a very roundabout way of answering a simple question. Like, he could have said, nope, fortunately, never got a chance to meet him. Like, that's it. This is a very odd structured sentence. And then but that last line, you just gotta wait until the end of the series, and everybody will be like, oh wow.
To me, that's a dead giveaway.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so did he
What was the actual? Do they have a like word by word quote of what the question was?
Hold on. He said during the interview, the actor posed with a query, but don't think it actually. I think it literally just said, have you ever met Chris Evans?" That was it. Like, it was just, that was the question.
Okay.
I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either. So, but it's a very odd statement, and very obviously the end of the statement is just like, well, that can only mean one thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we gonna? When you answer the question with, you just gotta wait until the end of the series, and everybody be like, oh wow. When you were asked about meeting Chris Evans, there's only one logical conclusion to that, and that Chris Evans is gonna be in the last episode in some capacity. So I don't know if it could just be trolling, though, like a lot of these people do. Like, I remember Paul Bettany said that in the WandaVision, he got to work with an actor he's always wanted to work with, and he was just talking about himself.
Right.
That was the greatest troll job ever.
That was good.
Props to Paul Bettany. That had everybody reeling for weeks, and it was just making a joke.
That entire show is like based on speculation, though.
I know, like, literally.
What is going to happen? That person looked at this person. What does that mean?
Yeah, I kind of miss it in some way, but I also. Like, I still say John made a great point when we were leading up to Falcon Winter Soldier, where, like, sometimes I just like to sit back and just watch a show, and there's the
relax,
show.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
Go along for the ride.
Yeah, there it is. Like, not, man, what does this mean? And he looked over there, and who's this? And the engineer.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm happy Winter Soldier, and you just follow it, and it just kind of happens, and that's it. Like, there's the information. There we go.
Yeah.
So what do you think, though, before we get into the review? Do you think there's any weight to this? You think we're going to see Captain America, Chris Evans himself, in some capacity, whether it's Old Man Cap, Young Man Cap, in this final episode coming up?
No.
No?
I'm definitively saying no. I'm putting my money down on no for this one. That's just it gives the internet something to talk to. So congratulations, internet. Here's your topic for the next week. Go have your. I don't know what this guy's referring to. It's such a weird way of answering, like you guys have mentioned. It's such a weird way of answering the question. But I also here's my main reason why I say no. Chris Evans just left. I mean, we have two Marvel projects in between his last appearance. He was in Endgame. We got Spider-Man, and then we got WandaVision. Those are the only two Marvel properties we've had before Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he's coming back already. Like, no, he's not. Said he was done. I believe him that he's done. I think maybe way down in the line in the future, they might entice him, or he might be like, hey, it'll be fun to reward the fans and come back for a quick nod and a wink to the camera in some capacity. And the other main thing I think about this is this show is really it's advancing the MCU plot to a certain extent, but it's also establishing, it's elevating, for lack of a better way to put it, it's elevating Bucky and Sam into that next echelon of MCU heroes. I mean, you kind of had your core six from the Avengers movie. You had, Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. They were kind of like the A team or whatever. And then Marvel started bringing in the next round of heroes, but they never quite were on this. Never had the prestige, I guess, of those first ones. And I think this is kind of Marvel elevating them up to, I mean, spoilers, but I think we've talked about on the show already, so it shouldn't be too much of a spoiler at this point. But Falcon's going to be the next Cap, and I don't think they're going to take away from the grandeur, or I don't know if that's the right way to put it, of Sam becoming the next Captain America by having Steve come back and pat him on the shoulder and say, "There you go, buddy. You're the next Cap." Like, Steve already did that. He handed him the shield. Like, it's Sam's time to shine now. So you're not going to step all over his moment by bringing Cap back too.
That's a good point. It could kind of like belittle the whole series if he does come back. Just to, oh, so you took the shield? Like,
Yeah, right.
Good job. Like, it would be kind of like, oh, okay, it'd be kind of stupid.
Now that you mention it, it probably is just trolling. Like, wouldn't you do that if you were an actor and you're asked these kinds of questions? Like,
oh yeah, dude. I'm surprised they don't do it more. In all honesty, like, I would totally do it.
Oh God, yeah.
The way that like all like the fandom like hangs on every word they say anymore. Like, dude, I would be saying the most oddball contradictory shit like all the time. Just like, yeah, well, like I was hanging out with Hugh Jackman the other day on set. Like, just like weird stuff just to make instantly make people do what?
Just and then like, oops, I shouldn't have said that.
No,
like,
I wouldn't even, I would just play it nonchalant. Just like, yeah, like me and old Hugh, we're just, whatever. Like, I'd totally mess with people. The only thing that gives any sort of weight to this at all is that there was like that story a while back that Chris Evans had like signed a deal to like re-enter the MCU. But that was post to this show being filmed. So I don't know if that would have anything to do with this at all. Like, in any capacity, because like I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Like, I don't really. It depends on like how and why. In all honesty, like otherwise, like it'd be kind of stupid for like old man Cap to come in and, like I said, just and like you said, just pat Sam on the back. Like, okay, that's kind of, there's really no need for it because we did have that already. So
yeah,
I don't know. It is what it is. But the question is, guys, what do you think about these comments? We have like, what, 4 more days? Like, as this goes up, we'll have 4 more days until the finale is here. So do you think Wyatt Russell's just trolling us here? Do you think this was one great value joke that he could throw in there? Let us know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys, so without any further ado, we are going to kick off the spoiler discussion here. And first, I'll just kick it off where I really enjoyed this episode. I like it was very much more a character-driven kind of just setting. It was a lot of setup for the finale, but it was set up with character development, like nice character beats, like all the stuff with Isaiah and Sam. That was great stuff. And then Bucky and Sam on the boat, and Sam Sam playing with the shield. Sam training with the shield was all very cool. And then you had some interesting stuff in there though that kind of like. I brought this up on stream the other day where if you had to have subtitles on to see this part and actually like get the whole aspect of it. But when they showed Sharon on the phone, she was speaking French. And then she said something about like, you owe me something for like getting you out of jail or whatever. But then like it shows in the subtitles like Batroc responds in French. So Sharon literally was like the one who sent Batroc, the Leaper, George St. Pierre, to Carly at the end of the episode, which is like, well, what's going on with Sharon? This keeps raising more questions about Sharon. Like, is she playing both sides? Is she connected to the power broker in some way? Is she the power broker? Like, who the hell knows? Then you had Elaine Bennis drop in. That was good. And she was supposed to have actually been, we should have already been exposed to her character. She was supposed to be in, well, she is in Black Widow. So, like, I was saying this to Rick the other day on stream too. Like, I feel like that scene she was in, it was just kind of, it felt like we should have known more about her character, the way she came in there and like just asserted herself in the situation, because we had no idea who the hell she was. But had we seen Black Widow already, like we were supposed to have, I feel like that scene would have held like even more weight to it, because we would have been like, oh shit, that's the person from the thing who did the thing, you know, that kind of aspect. But it was still cool, and there's a lot of different ways, like with her character being introduced, like this thing could go. Like in the comics, she was like a Skrull. She's connected to like the Dark Avengers. That could obviously be being set up now with Zemo going to the Wrath as opposed to not Wakanda to be executed kind of thing, like, which is kind of peculiar. So that was pretty much all things I can think about off the top of my head. So I'll kick it over to you, Rick. What did you think about this episode here?
It was good. It was good. There was a lot going on, and like you said, it was pretty character driven. I personally really liked watching Sam like kind of find himself as Captain America and like, you know, really start like pushing himself with like the shield scenes and when he was like training and all that. Dude definitely got in really good shape for it too. But it was cool seeing like Bucky bring him that box, which we talked about the other day too.
Oh wait, Rick, what do you think is in the box?
Shut up.
No, I'm not talking about you. It's all the people.
Oh,
everyone.
well, I was curious, but I kind of figured, I was like, obviously it's a suit.
Like, yeah, like how do you not do? I've seen so many people just like, what? Do you think there's like some wings in the box? And I'm not trying to be mean. It's just like it's so painfully obvious what's in the fucking box, dude. Right. It's not 7, dude. Like there's no surprise to it. It's the freaking suit, dude. Right. It's that simple. But go on, Rick.
No, I just I thought it was good. You know, I don't really know how else to put it. Like I liked it. I like the boat scenes and where you get to see and hear more about like Isaiah Bradley and like his whole story and what happened to him and why he is the way he is. But I don't know too. The other thing I thought was kind of cool, and I don't know how to say it, maybe cool, but how he was talking to Sam, and he was just like, you know, no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America, and I don't think that's true. Like I think Sam's perfect for that, and I think it'd be cool to have a black Captain America, you know, like especially one that flies.
Well, that's why I think too. Like in Sam's mind, he's like this contradictory to the fact, and like he's like, well, maybe the world, because you think that is exactly why the world needs a black Captain America or could use one. You know what I mean? Like, you know, why it would mean something for a black man to do it.
Very symbolic, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's kind of like it works in opposites. It's like, you know, self-respecting black men want to do it, but the moment one does do it, it adds a whole new meaning to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like at that point, there is that figure there. You know what I mean? So it brings a whole new level to it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
John, what were your your overall thoughts on it? We can go in and like break some more stuff down.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot going on in the show, and I'm trying to remember it all. Like after only one viewing, I feel like I might have misunderstood certain aspects of it. At one point, didn't Sam's sister come to him and say something like, "You're not going to let that old man determine what you do," or something? Was there a line like that she said to him after he had spoken with Isaiah and he was trying to decide? I feel like she said something to that extent at the end, and he said something like no and stuff. It's one of those like types of things like I'm completely on board with what Rick was saying. Like, I'd love to see Sam take over the role, and I mean, obviously, with the spoilers and stuff that are out there, I think that's the way it's going. I think it's very interesting and probably good that the show is exploring the fact that I think the show is doing a good job of showing how complicated the idea of race is, and especially in our country, and it's complicated not just because of the surface stuff that goes on, like just the for lack of a better way to put it, like the optics. The government, because of optics, gave the shield to a blonde hair, blue eyed white person to continue the role, because obviously that's how the government sees, the idea of Captain America. So there you've got those issues that are going on there, very clear just on the surface. But then you have all the historical context and everything else that goes into it. So you have these two. You have even people that on the surface you would think would feel the same way. Like, oh, black people would think this way about it, and they don't. Everybody comes at these things framed by their own experiences and their own prejudices, and it's such a complicated thing. And I like seeing that the show isn't making it just a simple thing, like, oh, we're just giving the shield to Sam. So I don't know. I'm not sure that has a lot to do with the actual content of the show itself or the story points, but I found that whole aspect of this particular episode really interesting. The Elaine Bennis was really shocking to me. Like, I had heard that there was a surprise guest in the show, and then when she showed up, I was like, well, that's Elaine. And then, like, her character is kind of a really small character in the comics. I'm not even I read quite a few Marvel comics, and I'm not even real familiar with her character. So it'll be interesting to see where they take her. Trying to think of other, anything else major. I thought the opening fight between John Walker and Bucky and Sam was phenomenal. I thought that was a really exciting, maybe because I've been waiting for it. Like, I've wanted to see it for a while. I was kind of, to be honest, shocked at how well John Walker held his ground against both of them. I thought he might get in a few good licks, but Sam and Bucky would take him down fairly easily, and it was a pretty knockdown, drag out affair there. So,
that's the one thing that I wasn't too thrilled about, was how, because I said this before, when they throw down, Bucky he's been a super soldier for 100 years, been assassinating fools for 100 years. John Walker has been, a soldier for some odd years, whatever, but he ain't been doing it for 100 years. So that was my only thing, where it was like, he should be able to, like, get in some blows, but I almost feel like they made him, like, a bit too formidable going up against Bucky and Sam.
And Sam, yeah. He did have the shield, so that gives him, I mean, Bucky's got his vibranium arm, so you kind of think that's almost a wash between those two things. But yeah, I know, I definitely was surprised by that aspect of it.
It didn't bother me that he held his own as well as he did, like, because I wouldn't expect him just to get, like, steamrolled by any means. It wasn't just like some novice going up against freaking George St. Pierre, for instance. Like, it was just, he's outnumbered and he's facing a super soldier who is very experienced, and then Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know. Felt like it should have been a little bit easier, but it didn't bother me. It was a good fight, regardless. It was a good fight, so I did enjoy that. So, not to interrupt, but
no, not at all. I thought the case at the end, I haven't looked at anything online, so I'm a little surprised that there's a lot of questions about what's in the case. I think maybe Marvel intentionally not showing it just led people to maybe question that. But yeah, I think with Sam having left his wings or whatever with his buddy, I can't remember his buddy's name in the army
Torres.
now, but Torres, he told him, keep the wings. I think that's a clear indicator he needs a new set. So
well, and it was set up for him because he's Falcon in the comics too. Torres.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when Sam becomes Cap, he becomes Falcon. So I was like, oh, we're setting that up.
So he's got the wings now. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he can fix them, and then he can be Falcon, and Sam's gonna have his cool new vibranium, red, white, and blue vibranium wing Falcon suit. It'd be pretty cool.
I'm a little confused. There's a whole nother aspect of this, but I was a little confused by the Wakandans' reaction to Bucky She told him, you may want to stay out of Wakanda for a while, almost as if they were upset with what. I understand that they're upset with what he'd done, but he didn't. It wasn't like he broke their word to them. It wasn't like he was like, "No, I'm letting him go now." Like he did what he needed to get him back. Like he understands the importance of this guy being imprisoned to the Wakandans, and like was not going to allow him to go free. So I was a little, I'm not sure I quite understood what the motivations there were, or what she meant by that. And then obviously he asked for her help in getting Sam his new, what we're assuming is his new suit, which I thought was very cool. It's gonna be cool to see that tied in. The other aspect of that whole thing that I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't address, but I thought when we first saw the Wakandans in this show, I thought, oh my God, they're gonna address Chadwick's passing. We're gonna hear something about Black Panther or something in this. And barring them showing up in the final episode, I think they kind of passed that buck down the road a little bit. Is that the right? I'm thinking I'm combining phrases or whatever, but
It
but
works.
they left that to be dealt with in a future story, which is probably the smarter move. It's probably smarter that they give Ryan Coogler a chance to come up with a story for Black Panther 2 that addresses that. But it was definitely interesting because when they first showed up, I thought, oh my God, it was kind of like heartbroken because I hadn't even considered them addressing that. I thought they were going to address that, and now I've kind of feel like that isn't going to be addressed till later on, which is fine by me. I feel it's probably appropriate.
Yeah, I feel like, dude, I don't even know if Ryan Coogler and them know what they're doing yet at this point. You know what I mean? Because it's
He's
just a very.
he's supposed to be working on the script right now.
That's what
So
I'm
I mean,
saying. But I don't know, like, he's working on it. So, like, do they even, because this was shot way before that happened. So, if Chadwick had done something for
this was
this,
shot before that happened. He
yeah, because
passed what, August of last year?
this was shot pre-pandemic, and they decided to do it. Got interrupted because of the pandemic. So, they were working on this before that.
Okay.
You know? So, I don't have the exact dates on my head, but, like, they were working on this. And then, like, this was Black Widow should have already been out. That got delayed because of the pandemic. Then this was supposed to come out. Was this supposed to come out at the end of the year in 2020, or was it supposed to be the beginning of 2021? Because I know WandaVision was supposed to come out in 2020. I mean, everything got pushed back, and then like this, they hadn't finished filming yet when like stuff got shut down, so they had to go back and finish a couple things. But like they had already had this stuff like done, like at
Falcon
least.
and Winter Soldier began filming in October of 2019.
Yeah, so like it was a while ago.
Mhm.
So like if they had plans for like Chadwick or anything like that, it would have been done like prior to that his passing and everything.
Yeah.
But that's the thing,
Yeah.
like it with same goes for like Black Panther 2, like they had a plan for it, so
They
now they
filmed
had to rework everything.
Yeah, they filmed final scenes for Falcon and Winter Soldier in fall of 2020, this article says. So, yeah, I'm curious if that affected the. It doesn't seem like it did, at least story wise. It doesn't seem like there was a
Yeah.
place for it. So,
Yeah, because I mean, I imagine if they would have had Chadwick in here in any way, they could have just cut him out. Because like if the Wakandans were here, so like it would make sense if Black Panther would have been there for like at least a couple minutes.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not like his character's needed by any means. So it obviously the Wakandans just being there and the Dora Milaje themselves being there, it makes perfect sense. The only thing that with me that I had with this scene is like I almost feel like them explicitly saying that they are taking Zemo to the raft is potential setup for like Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers or something. Because why on earth would they just not take him back to face like Wakandan justice? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so like
where was he being held prior to this? Was he at Strikers?
Germany.
He was in Germany.
I think he was in a prison in Germany.
Is that where
yeah.
they bust him out of?
Yeah.
Like, it's odd that he didn't go back to that prison.
Exactly.
Like, why are they taking him to the raft? Yeah, that is odd.
So that's why I feel like the raft where Thunderbolt Ross is, where Abomination is,
Omega Red,
who we know is going to be coming into She-Hulk, like they could be setting up some Thunderbolts here. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like you never know. Young Avengers have been like, whoa, we were like one freaking Hulkling away from all the Young Avengers being on screen here at some point. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a possibility. So that's the only odd thing I thought about. This whole episode, like, why are they taking him to the raft? Like, I just feel like there had to be more with that. It's just like, because like you said, why wouldn't he just go back to the prison he got broken out of? Like, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else. I think I liked all the stuff with Sam. That's all good stuff. I remember in this scene that you were talking, like you were trying to think of like what she said. In one scene, they said something about the fight, and Sam said that like, if I stop now, then what would have been the point of all the fights before, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember her saying anything directly related to Isaiah, but I
Okay.
remember them having a conversation about essentially everything Sam had done and fought for up until this point, and his response was, "Yeah, what? Like, I'm not going to stop because then what was all that for?" Essentially. So this was all good, and then like they're not selling the boat.
I loved Bucky flirting. I combined.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
that was good stuff
Bucky
too.
flirting with Sam's sister and Sam's reaction. That was so good.
That was really
Right.
good.
It was cracking me up.
But yeah, and then so the only other thing, I'll see if I can pull it up here. That Sharon phone call was really the only other thing that kind of was like, well, that's weird.
Right.
But like I already kind of mentioned it. I just wanted to show it up for like proof. Because like, did you
That-
catch that in the show, John?
That she got him released.
Was talking to Batroc and like sent Batroc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that she got back. I assumed, I actually took that as confirmation that she's the weapon. Is it weapons dealer? Is that what
The
they're
power
calling them?
broker.
The power broker. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of took that as confirmation that she's the power broker. Now
That's what I was
maybe I'm wrong.
No,
Still,
yeah, no,
but
exactly. That
that's-
scene lends the most weight to that.
Sure. I
'Cause
love the scene when Sam and right here, this previous to this shot where they were almost playing toss with the shield.
Yeah, right,
off
yeah.
ricochets.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That was good. That
Like
was
a
good.
frisbee. Yeah. Throwing that disc.
Yeah, I can't find that stupid phone call scene was so quick. I missed the like when I was watching the show for the first time, I was like on my phone. Like I think I was talking to you guys in Discord or something. So like I missed that whole scene altogether. And I didn't find out about it later, and then I went back and I was like, well, yeah, she really was talking to Batroc. Like, what the fuck? That's weird.
I think it was more towards the end.
Well, it had to be before Batroc showed up. That's the only reason I was like, because I got to the point where Batroc showed up with here. So it's like,
No, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was after that.
how would she call him after that? Her whole thing was to get him to go here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
It was. I mean,
is
this
the
is
end. Yeah,
this is aside. This is aside from it, but it was a long episode too. This was almost a full hour. This was
Mhm.
which was nice. You're at 37 minute mark. Go to the 37-minute mark. That's where the Sharon scene is.
where I'm at.
37.
There it is.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Here it is. Yeah, it says, if you weren't for me, you'd be rotting in an Algerian prison, Batroc speaking French. So, like, what is she doing with Batroc? And that's the thing, too, is like, was she in cahoots with Batroc prior? Like, at the beginning? Was she in charge and, like, with Batroc when that whole deal was going on that Sam broke up in the opening, the opening of the series, the big flight battle?
Hmm.
Or did she just call him up out of the blue to do this thing with Carly? But then, too, why is she giving stuff to Carly? Because she's supposed to be working with Sam to stop Carly.
right. That's
You know what I
what
mean?
I think we're gonna see. I mean, like, yeah, I did
That's-
not expect that.
It's interesting. Because it's like, this has been the biggest indication that she is at least tied to the power broker in some way. But at the same time, the very thing that contradicts that is the power broker wants to kill Carly. Because Carly took the super soldier serum. And then the other thing that directly
That's true. That's a good point.
and then in that scene where the doctor guy who made the super serum got killed, the power broker that was his main asset. His or her main asset was that freaking doctor. So if she was the power broker, why on earth would she have sent men to defend the power broker from her, Bucky, and Sam and Zemo? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this is a comic book thing, so who knows?
Yeah, I
But
was
then,
gonna say,
if she is power broker, though, she would have sent her men there to get killed by her and Sam and them. So it again makes no sense.
yeah.
But it is weird. Like, I don't know if maybe she really is just like pulling some weight, essentially. Like, you know, so it's like she helped Batroc at one point, so Batroc owes owes her a favor. And she's like, go get this thing to Sam or to what's her name, because it'll inevitably help Sam in some way, like it's bugged or something. So now Sam can track her, and like that's all it is. You
Yeah.
know, like there's a tracker and the fucking weapons they gave her that George St. Pierre gave. I don't know.
It's possible.
That's the best guess I have for it, is like she's just using Batroc to further help herself and Sam.
All right, I found the quote I was talking about. If you go to the 46-minute mark, 46:19,
Mm-hmm.
Actually 46:25 almost, it looks like. Sam's sister says to him, "So you're really going to let Isaiah Bradley get in your head?" And then
Yeah, right here.
she asks him,
bam.
"Are you going to let him decide what you do next?" And then Sam explains that he understands where Isaiah is coming from. But then,
Yeah.
like you said, he says the part about what would all the sacrifice have been for. So
Yeah, so we
Just-
were
just a
talking about the
really-
same thing. Yeah.
yeah, just a really, I mean, to me, those were some really powerful scenes there. That just, I felt like Marvel, as much as a TV show about superheroes can, was doing justice to the complicated nature of just everything. Everything involving race and the way people perceive different people, and people perceive different racial things that go on in this country. So I really appreciated those scenes and liked that they threw them in there.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's the thing too, like, because everyone always complains, or not like complains, but like a lot of people don't like, you know, the superhero stuff because like they don't have any substance and it's just all this
Yeah.
and that, and it's like, I don't know what you guys are watching, because this shit's,
Right.
a lot of it can be
Well,
really deep, man.
and I think-
very
I think-
relevant.
I think it's irresponsible in a lot of ways to make things black and white. To just make things. I didn't mean black and white as a. It's,
Right.
Yeah. Hmm.
I wish I had a better analogy, but it's irresponsible to make things either one way or the other. There's so much gray, and there's so much middle things that people think they're in the middle, and like I like that they're exploring that idea that they have different. They have similar life experiences, but they come at things from a completely different angles. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what do you think here? Let's close off here with Great Value Cap making this shield here. What do you think's gonna happen here at the end? You think he's gonna like try to redeem himself, or you think he's gonna be? Because I made the point too, where it's kind of odd to where the government's kind of thrown him out and like discharged him. He's done, but he still wants to do the red, white, and blue thing, and I
Right,
find that to be
right.
like peculiar. So it's like, is he gonna like try to redeem himself as Captain America?
Because he really said he's like, I am Captain
Yeah,
America.
Well,
or
that's
is he
what it
gonna
is.
go
I don't-
rogue?
Yeah, I think he's just straight going. I think he still believes that he's Captain America. I don't think it's a matter of him thinking he needs to redeem himself. I think he
that's-
just straight up believes that he's Cap, and
I
they
think
can't
this-
just take that away from him.
I think
Right.
the serum messed with his head a little
Do you
bit.
think he's going to? So you think he's going to show up and try to like kill Carly, and like
Maybe he
do
thinks that
that?
that'll redeem him.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
or is he going to come in and try to kill Sam and them? Like, is he going to be trying to be like a Punisher kind of person and only
Well-
killing bad guys, or is he going to be doing his own thing?
The symbolism too with the Medal of Honor, where he like lays it on the shield or whatever. Like it's almost like he's doing it, maybe trying to at least in an honorable way. But I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I also found it odd though that he's making his own shield,
Gotta
especially
steal.
with his interaction with Elaine, with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. I would have thought he would have called her, and that because she clearly has some, you would assume, some financial backing to be going out and basically hiring people. So you would think he would just go to her and be like, okay, yeah, I'll be your cap or whatever, but I need my equipment. And like, I don't know. Because she was all like, I mean, she clearly knew everything. Like, I know you don't have the shield, and I know this, that, and the other thing. So
Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do with her character. She's like, obviously she's in more than just this. So, and we should have known more about her because we should have seen her in Black Widow. So, like, I don't know. We don't know what kind of weight she actually pulls. 'Cause that's why I was saying, like, that scene felt like we should have known who the hell she was in some ways, and it should have meant something. Instead, we were just like, what's Elaine doing here? Like, you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
what I thought.
that's pretty much where everybody was at with it, at least in my mind. So I really don't know. I think he's probably going to be trying to go out in a tone for like not like what he. I think he's going to be like a Punisher kind of character. Like I think that's what he's going on. He's going to go out and do justice, like the way he thinks justice is
The way he
justice.
thinks it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
do you think there's another confrontation coming between him and Sam?
Probably. Because
Yeah.
I feel like what he's going to do is just a complete guess, no insider information. I think he's going to keep doing the mission. And the mission was to get Carly and the Flag Smashers. And that's what Sam's doing.
Yeah, he wants to beat him
Well,
to it.
and that's actually, we didn't talk about that either. That's the other part of that. Remember the scene with him going to Battlestar's family and talking with them about, he said that was the person that killed them. And they were like, well, thank God, because I think the only way he would rest in peace is knowing that his killer had been brought to justice. Well, he wasn't the one that killed him.
No.
It was one of the other Flag Smashers that killed him.
It was
right?
Carly,
so,
I think.
Was it Carly?
Yeah.
So
yeah, Carly
like,
kicked him, yeah.
I think he took that to heart, and like that's his mission now is to give Battlestar or put Battlestar to rest, like get the person that actually is responsible.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I think there's some personal motivation on top of just the responsibility of the mission or whatever that's included now. So anyway, I was just like, it's going to be great to see Sam throw his shield and just basically shatter this
Right.
version that John Walker is piecemealing together.
Right. Yeah, because this don't look like no vibranium.
No.
I don't think this is going to hold up that well.
No, I don't think it will either.
Definitely, he's living up to the name Great Value Cap.
Yep.
Like, for sure. With his Wish.com shield, as Rick so accurately put it.
Yeah.
So, well, we're going to call it there, guys. So, Rick, where can everybody find you online? Unless you guys got anything else you want to add by any means.
Oh, no.
I think we covered it.
Okay, cool. Well,
Can't wait for the final episode, but then we got our little hiatus until June, right?
Yeah, and then it's going to be a little bit. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to talk about for the last part of the show now. We're going to have to come up with some other thing to spoil or discussion on. That's another thing, too, dude. Invincible is only supposed to be like 8 episodes, so that's going to be over in like a couple weeks, too. Crazy.
Yeah. We could do an episode just on the entire Invincible series.
Yeah, we could.
As a whole, too.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
We could do a quick segment at the end. I don't know that there's I mean, since we haven't been doing episode by episode, discussion, we could do the entire series, just a general overview.
Yeah, we could recap it. Good. It's a good show, man. It's really good.
It is.
It's really good.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out. You have Amazon Prime, so you should definitely check it out. It's good. Really good.
It's a quick, like, are they quick?
They're long episodes. They're like 40 minutes.
They are longer, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you can break them down. Like, you can watch 20 minutes and stop it at the end of a scene and jump back into it and stuff. So
yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's adult animation. Like, for sure.
Not adult animation.
Yeah, it's a bit gory, for a comic book looking show.
Yeah.
Best way, it's gory.
That sounds cool though.
It's really good. Well, Rick, where can everybody find you online?
You can follow me at Sir Rick Metz on Instagram. Come look at my stupid pictures and all that. Try to keep the show updated on there too, like links and all that, and follow me.
There it is. John, where can everybody find you?
I'm over at Instagram and Twitter, Nightwing_K.
All right. You can follow me simply at Sir Rob Bifo there. Do not forget that every week when we do this very show, you can submit topics and questions for us to address just by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Every Wednesday, collectible reviews go up. The most recent one was the Dark Side Anakin hot toy. Great piece right there. As you can see on screen, the review is up there on the channel. Then every Friday, we do our live streaming where we do our first reactions of Falcon Winter Soldier, although that's not going to happen anymore after next week, so it'll be the last on stream live reaction to the finale. That'll be there next week, but after that I don't know what it's going to be. So but anyway, come hang out with us there every Friday, normally around 8:30ish, 8:39 p.m. Eastern time. Sorry for anybody abroad there, because I know that's like 1 or 2 a.m. So I'm sorry, but either way, come hang out with us there. And that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that sorts of fun stuff. Go subscribe to the podcast on your podcasting choice, network, iTunes. It's all there. But that'll do it for us today, guys. Until next time, take care.